All right. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's AI series by the Global Chamber. I'm Jacob Dietz, founder and CEO of Climo Collective, and one of your moderators today. We're excited to have you with us to explore how organizations can thoughtfully implement AI. And Yuka?
Sorry, my internet is really bad. Um, so thank you very much, everybody, for coming. My name is Yuka Nakasone, Executive Director of Global Chamber Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, and Malaga in Spain. Today, we'll discuss practical strategies for adapting or applying AI with clarity and purpose, purposeful and responsible AI implementation. Our session features a presentation by Ichun Rai. Did I pronounce your name well? Founder
Yes,
of
thank you.
Propel Global Advisory, which is located in the city of New York. Yes, New York City. Yeah. And after her presentation, we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. So please put your questions while she's presenting, if you have anything. And maybe if something comes up like relevant to stop the presentation and ask in the moment, we will. This is a kind of interactive session. Right, Jacob?
Yeah. We always, I'm always paying attention to people out there and questions in the chat and, want to make sure that everyone's voices are heard and valued. And this is a very important topic, I think, to everyone that's interested in AI is the responsible use of the technology as it's becoming more widely adopted worldwide. And so, please introduce yourself in the chat, drop your LinkedIn, ask questions, and yeah, we'll have some time at the end to get into some question and answers, and yeah, hopefully we'll have a really fun event. One thing that I really love about this topic, and especially our presenter, and then I'll pass it over to you, Yuka, to introduce her, is just the emphasis on how this technology, as we always say, can really enhance the human experience. I think that a lot of people, there's a lot of uncertainty. I made the joke in my LinkedIn post yesterday about hurdles and running track and field and being nervous about running hurdles because I didn't want to trip and fall uh, mid race. But I think that's there's a lot of uncertainty and fear and anxiety when it comes to AI implementation. And so excited to hear more about Ichun's work. And yeah, I'll pass it over to you. You could introduce her properly.
Yeah, thank you. So today's speaker is Ichun Lai, principal at Propel Global Advisory in the New York City. Ichun is a strategist with decades of experience in leading change project globally. I mean, she manages changes well. She specializes in accelerating responsible AI adoption in financial services. Ichun, we're eager to hear your insight, and thank you very much for coming. The stage is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Yuka-san and Jacob. Appreciate the opportunity to share my work and introduce myself. It's a huge topic, and so but I think it's an important one, and so I appreciate the opportunity to actually have a conversation with you all. I think I've been thinking, okay, what do we want to focus on, etc. And I decided that perhaps I would just maybe start with my own journey, like how I got into AI, and then introduce the 5 hurdles that enterprises must overcome in order to move forward with AI, and then maybe just open the floor for everybody to have a good conversation about it. So hopefully by the end of this call, you will know a little bit more and consider it more broadly than when you just joined. How's that sound? Okay, and confirm my. Okay, I need to confirm my language for some reason. Let me choose English for this. Okay, and then I must say that this morning when I was going through my slide, I realized that the PowerPoint doesn't work as I used to work. So I'm going to, instead of sharing the full screen that I'm used to, I'll have to share my screen as is, because when I change it to slideshow, I don't see everybody anymore for some reason. And I will find out what happened, but no, I'm just going to share my screen as it is. And hopefully that will work for you too. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So let me quickly the agenda. As I mentioned, I'm going to talk about my journey into AI, and then introduce myself and talk about the 5 hurdles I identified, and then we'll have a Q&A. So here's about me, my background. So I've worked in different places in Tokyo, in Philadelphia, and also through my work, I worked in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and in a few places in Europe. So I'm a little bit everywhere, and it's because of the companies that I work for, right? These are global financial services companies, and I was the finance director, I was the business manager, and I did the strategy and transformation. I was an internal audit at one point, and a consultant for 9 projects in large global companies. So that's kind of my background. So in essence, my career is all about facilitating change, figuring out how to move things forward on a global scale. 4 years ago, I became curious about AI, artificial intelligence. There were conversations about emerging technologies, blockchain, Internet of Things, AI, etc. And I decided to go deeper in one of those. And based on just my conversations with people that I trusted, I settled in artificial intelligence. And I took the 3 courses at MIT about it. And I was blown away. I told myself, this thing is going to change how we work. But my day job really never allowed me to do anything with it. So last year when I was thinking about what next, I very quickly decided to focus, to go independent, so that I can choose how I use my time and energy, and then focus on artificial intelligence and the adoption of artificial intelligence in enterprises, just because of my background, right? I work in enterprises, so and I've always taken on new subjects, so I'm not afraid of taking on something new. And so I thought I would just combine my curiosity, my comfort in dealing with new subjects, and my decades of experience facilitating change in global enterprises into something now I do. So that's my AI story. So since last year, I started to just think through myself first. Okay, knowing a little bit about the technology now, and knowing how large enterprises work, what are the hurdles that enterprises must overcome in order to move forward with AI. And so in my mind, I identified 5 hurdles. And then I started to go deeper in each one of those. And the way I usually do things is that I start with a comprehensive way, thinking through what's involved, and then go deeper and deeper. And then keeping in mind the business angle, and then just figure out how to get there. So the 5 hurdles I have identified for artificial intelligence are in front of you. Knowledge and communication gaps. I just don't think, I feel that it's actually there's a huge gap. People don't really understand how AI works, particularly decision makers. And that's actually behind a lot of reasons why AI projects don't go too far, or after millions of dollars with nothing to show. So I believe the knowledge gap has to be addressed. And on top of that, communication gaps, right? There's a understanding of the executives, and there's understanding of everybody in between. And they all seem to have different experiences and different expectations of the AI. And so that also feeds into the challenge of really getting it right in organizations. So that's number 1 hurdle. And I actually have given a 40 minutes presentation on that topic, and also published what I call primer article. Let me actually share that in the chat in case you are curious.
Yeah, Ichun, I also put your website link in there for everyone. So
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first link is actually the 5 hurdles article that I published, and then under the AI primer, you'll actually start to see additional articles that go 1 level deeper, and you will see Speak the AI Language is actually my attempt to address the knowledge gap hurdle, introducing the key concepts of how AI works, and then the vocabulary, so that hopefully decision makers and the IT and data people will start to be able to understand each other and actually discuss and make important decisions, right? With a correct, more like accurate understanding of what AI is. And this particularly is important because of the popularity of ChatGPT, right? Now everybody's using ChatGPT, has your own experience, your own interpretation of how it works, and that feeds into the confusion as well, because AI as a technology is much broader than just generative AI, right? And so that's the first hurdle to overcome. And the second hurdle is business purpose, because AI gets very technical very quickly. Many organizations rely on IT department, rely on the data scientists to drive the projects. And that's usually not a great place to start, because they are trained to keep the systems running. They are trained to work with data, but they are not trained to really translate that into a business outcome. So I have been advocating really start from what you expect the AI project to deliver, but with understanding of how the technology works, right? So once you understand rough, like how the technology works and the limitations and the potentials of it, then you can talk about, okay, then giving that capabilities, how do we want to use it in our organization, and what actually would be suitable, etc. And so that's business purpose. And I do think that business decision makers, especially the CEO and the C-levels, need to own the outcome of AI projects. And that's another big topic. So let's just leave it at that. The next thing is data. And most of you might have heard AI runs on data, right? From the data is trained to the actual data that run into the model to produce outcomes. So without data, AI doesn't work. But what does what does data mean in AI? And how does AI-ready data look like? That's actually another huge topic, and that's actually the most popular topic in the Chief Data Officer Conference I just attended in Boston. And I see Victor Lee, who I met, is here, and he can tell you all about it. And I'm glad he's here because he can probably answer more data questions than I can. But to help non-tech person like me, I also publish a primer on AI and data, and you're welcome to take a look as well. Then, okay, we understand how it works. We decided how to do with it, and we get the data ready for AI. What next? There's actually risk involved, and so we'll touch on that. And finally, human factors. I feel that it's something that's not talked about, but it should be talked about. And I'm actually working on an article to really share my thinking on that as well. So that's like the fifth hurdle. And I believe that all AI projects and initiatives will need to address these 5 hurdles upfront at the same time in order for the AI projects to be successful. I pause here before I move on. Any questions? And I'm just taking a breath for now. Okay, so let's just get started. Because of the time we have, I'm going to just touch on the knowledge gap and the risk and the human factors a little bit, and then open for discussions. Okay. Now, so AI, some of you are probably aware, it's not new. As soon as personal computers was introduced back in the 50s, scientists and researchers have started to actually think about, okay, what next? What can we train a machine to do? How about just creating machines that can perform tasks for us with some intelligence? And that's the beginning of it. And I'm not going to go through the details, but basically then scientists and researchers started to work on it, started to get sophisticated, started to have come up with techniques and frameworks and approaches to really train machine to learn and think like human beings. But of course they are, it's easy said than done, right? So there's an evolution of it. And I think the biggest turning point is when they actually started to have a way to look into how the human brain works, and have come up with a approach to really, they call it neural network, to kind of train machine how to think like human beings in the network. And it's in my 40 minutes presentation, I touch on that a little bit, but we simply don't have time. But I just wanted to share this so that you have a understanding of the history. And I do think that is important to understand the evolution of it, and then understand how it works right now. Then you will actually start to appreciate where it's going and the limitations of it, and understand that it's actually an evolution of humans' relationship with computers. It just so I hope that make my point. And now the AI we know today, the powerful ones, are basically using the transformer technique and start to have generative AI, which means that the machine can start to generate contents, etc. And so that's the modern AI we see and experience today. Okay, so how far has AI come? It's a very big questions that a lot of researchers are working on it, and there are a few frameworks out there that that everybody looks at. I shared this in that I found it useful for me as a non-tech to understand at the highest level what AI can do. So based on this study, and it's being updated as we speak, but the last time when it was published 2 years ago, it has discovered that certain models, and by the way, these are all based on very specific tasks. So it doesn't mean that all machines, all models can do this, but it's like certain machines now are capable of doing this, okay? And so the reading comprehension, image recognition, language understanding, some models are actually performing better than humans because of the speed, okay? And then in terms of handwriting and the speech recognition, some models actually can perform at the human level. In terms of the predictive reasoning, the way to take in information and reason with it and come up with conclusion is the frontier. And that's where a lot of money and a lot of investment and the energies are being put in. And basically that's also behind the capability behind AI agents, etc. Just a lot of fancy things that's out there because that's in a way kind of a final frontier. But it doesn't mean that researches and progress stopped in other capabilities. It will continue to deepen and broaden. But this is like where the AI capabilities stand 2 years ago. And 2 years ago is a long time in terms of AI progress. And so there has been some breakthrough in terms of reasoning. And there's also some breakthrough in terms of connecting AI among themselves, as well as with other systems. And so this thing is really getting real and started to be embedded into our everyday processes. Okay. So in terms of capabilities, you probably have been hearing natural language processing. That just means it's an ability for machine to understand natural language, and that's behind the ChatGPT. So that also means everyday people can actually start to program and ask machine to do certain things using plain language. And that's what's called also software 2.0. Okay, moving from software that requires programmers to use specific language to talk with machines. Now everybody can use plain language to give instructions to machines. So that's the NLP. There's also computer vision that's behind the machine's capability to recognize image. And that actually is a breakthrough where the medical research space is getting a lot of help from AI. And it's also behind autonomous driving, right? That's basically how machine sees. So that's the computer vision. There's speech recognition as well. That's how machine understand our messages, our speech, and then do something with it. And it can transcribe, it can translate languages using the speech recognition capabilities. And then there's gaming and simulations. That's where a machine started to identify patterns and start to be able to make decisions based on the patterns and calculations in the models. Okay, finally putting everything together is the robotics. So robotics use a different type of AI as well as non-AI technologies to put everything together. I think one thing I just want to highlight is something that MIT professor said, real world robots do not really benefit from having human form, human shape. And that's something I thought I would invite everybody to keep in mind. Okay, so I hope you started to appreciate AI is a different way of computing, different from the traditional computers of giving specific instructions. And traditional computing is how organizations are built, right? How processes are organized, how people are organized. So when the computing approach change, what does that mean? And so this is the so what that I started to think through. Can our IT infrastructure as of today built on old compute, built to support more traditional computation? Can they really handle AI models? Are data available? And can data be accessed as needed by AI models to perform tasks for us? How must programming change? How will work change? And our employees prepared? So these are the questions I started to think through. I don't have answers, but I hope to become part of the voice and part of the help to move us forward in the right direction. Okay, and I want to then touch on these concepts that I first came across at MIT, and it has stayed with me because I think it's important to really start to think how humans and machines work together, giving all the capabilities that humans actually now are giving machines, right? And I'm thinking it all starts with business problem. You know, what do we want the business, the machine to solve for us? And then organize the solutions in tasks. And now because machine is able to take on more than what it used to be able to do, I found this concept of automatable tasks as opposed to augmentable tasks useful to really think about that and talk about that. And that's also a framework I found useful to think about how the future of work would look like and how organization can think about reshaping the workforce. And it all came from actually research by MIT as well, that there's a paradox that we are living with. That is, what seems easy for humans are hard, and vice versa. And I put a few examples of what machines are very good at, as opposed to what humans are very good at, hopefully to invite people to start to think about it. So on the highest level, AI models, machines can process a tremendous large amount of data very quickly and very accurately as well, if it's designed the right way. As human beings, you appreciate when the data come to a certain number, etc., we just get lost, right? And so that's one example. And on the highest level, where AI stands right now, what will require thinking, require understanding of context, and make decision based on limited or even ambiguous information, human beings can still do. And we all do that almost every day, right? But machines cannot, vice versa. And so that's the concept I would like to introduce and invite everybody to think about. By the way, this is very important to remember. AI machines both can make things up. So we talk about the hallucinations, lies by ChatGPT, etc. Human beings do that all the time as well. And so I just would like to invite people to keep that in mind. And making sense is only as good as how we are trained, how we experience things, and our ability to make sense of things, right? So I like to invite everybody to keep that in mind as well. And I only have 2 more slides. So perhaps let me maybe cover all the slides and maybe we'll open discussion. How's that? So that we have that framework in mind. So let's talk about risks. Okay, and Simon is a collaborator of mine, and he has this framework I thought was useful to think about AI risks. One is strategic risk. If you don't use AI or if you don't use it properly, you are going to lose your customers. Or you are not going to get the customers that other companies are able to get if they do it right. And that will impact the market share on the business side. And so there's this FOMO going on, right? The fear of missing out. That's feeding a lot of hype as well. So in a way, it's a strategic decision that all decision makers are faced with, and the risk of they are not doing it right is real. Okay. There's also financial risk. Some companies are spending millions and millions of dollars now. But I do started to hear people asking, so what are the returns? And so that's the financial risk all companies are faced with. There's operational risks. AI definitely has enabled new forms of cyber attack. How do we protect the company's data and the company's processes? How do we counter that? There's also talent challenges, right? How do we train our employees to be able to actually participate? And how do we actually attract talents, particularly data talents, and also IT engineers, etc. And that's a key. That's a very real problem for financial services, because technology company seems sexier and they pay big money, and so it's actually a real challenge for financial services companies, particularly insurance companies, to actually attract talents. And how do we deal with that? And so that's a real risk. And there's also compliance risk, especially for highly regulated financial services companies. It's a real risk, and it's also a challenge. As you probably have been hearing, there are all kinds of AI-related risks, regulations being introduced as we speak and being formed as we speak. And my observation is that this time regulators and the industry have learned the lesson from the internet era, so they actually proactively are working together and to really introduce risk. But then you have regional differences as well, right? Whereas European AI Act, European regulations is going down one route, whereas the US a little bit uncertain, but I'm happy to see state regulators started to actually step up and fill the void and try to actually lead the regulations that's actually important to make sure AI is used in the right way and protecting individuals from the harm. There are also risks unique to AI. Bias is a real risk. It's another huge topic, and I actually have published a white paper on it, and you can find it on the website. Bias in AI-driven decision-making is real, and it's something that all decision makers need to be aware of and be educated and to think about it. Finally, there are model risks from AI that's unique to model. Okay. Finally, I want to show this slide. It's prepared by another collaborator of mine, John Teddy. And this is for the insurance industry, which tend to drag its feet. And especially like in the past, we hear, okay, there's legal concerns, governance, and then there's just all kinds of excuses being used for the organization not to move forward. I think that's we are actually where we started to hear people talk about it because a lot of external pressure, and there's also individuals' experience with ChatGPT. And it's interesting to see that the pressure, the momentum actually is now being created by employees as consumers as well into that that conversations, and then hopefully the organizations that start to think about it will not find themselves all of a sudden, how did we get so behind? So let me close that my presentation with this slide, and then open for discussion. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. And it was in live.
Oh, you go. Yeah.
To see your presentation. It was concise and it was really, yeah. Jacob, can you do that?
Yeah. So no, yeah, you could. Yeah, we were losing you a little bit, but yeah, no, that was a really excellent presentation. I really appreciate sort of the mix of knowledge, information with the graphs, data, research, and so it was really brilliant. And so we have to sort of end things 5 minutes before top of the hour for an event that's happening right after this. And so let's move right into questions. And so would love to just throw it. We always have some questions up our sleeves, but would love to throw it out to the guests to see if anyone has any questions or thoughts from the presentation today.
Yeah, Ichun, maybe I can start. Yeah. I don't know where that hands thing is. Okay. Anyway, Ichun, very nice to meet you. Thank you very much. AI readiness. How do you approach the topic AI readiness when you go into a company as a consultant? Do you have? Thanks, Jacob. Do you have like a framework, or do you go by these points that you just mentioned on your PowerPoint?
And thank you for that question. It's a great one. I continue to contemplate, and especially as a newbie advisory, like how do we get started, right? We clients, and uh, I think it really depends, and I really sincerely feel that it really depends on. Usually the conversation, I think I will have opportunity to speak to my potential clients because they have a problem, right? Either they don't know how to get started or they are stuck somewhere. And I think my 5 hurdles will be a good framework to have an initial conversation to find out where things are for them. And ultimately, why are they talking to me? What do they need to accomplish? And that will guide me in then what would be useful to introduce to them. Ultimately, I am the trusted advisor in this conversation, and I'm here to provide guidance and share the useful frameworks to help them move forward. And honestly, I think it's a leadership challenge, right? It's a communication challenge. So from that conversation, I'll kind of get where they are and then discuss with them. How do we actually, how do I help you? And then I will just go from there. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you, Ichun.
Yeah, and thank you. And really something just to add on to that point, I restated Victor's comment from earlier about lack of knowledge and understanding about something powerful leads to fear. I think that, uncertainty, fear leads to anxiety, makes you really question a lot of things. And so having those honest conversations up front where you can address these things and having these hurdles to address and to go one by one through, I think can really help them not only see things themselves, but just to really start to develop a path forward. I think that's excellent. Let's see, do we have any other questions? So like I said, we have some up our sleeve, but feel free to come off mute.
Something to that. Hey, Jacob, nice to meet you again. It's been a while. There are 2 possible reactions, interestingly, of opposite sides of the spectrum of when there's something powerful. There's some people, like I said, will react from fear, and I don't want to overcharacterize insurance companies are inherently risk adverse. It's their business to be risk adverse. And then there are other people who are just all excited about what it can do and jump in without understanding the risks. And the truth is, we should use AI, but we should also understand how it can go wrong so that we try to minimize the occurrences and the severity of it going wrong. So it's like any new powerful technology. Hey, it's like Spider-Man with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, and thank you, Victor, for that. So 2 things to share with everybody, actually. When I started the journey, of course, I did a lot of Google research, ChatGPT, kind of trying to educate me by what's out there. But very quickly, even I came to this conclusion. A lot of the knowledge out there are produced by consulting firms, by technology companies, a lot of marketing stuff in there. And so that's why I actually started to move into reading a few I found thoughtful books at the same time to complement what I learned at MIT. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. And then I've also learned there are 2 forces, right, out there. One is actually driven by Silicon Valley, also by Stanford and by Google. They are actually almost obsessed to want to find out how far technology can go. And that's all their focus, and they talk about it all the time, and it takes up a lot of media space. There's also another group that's in a way leading by MIT, because as far as early 80s, MIT already started to look into the future of work. and how, and my framework of machine and humans working together came from their work, right? And so being an engineering school, they are focusing on the application of things, and then they also consider the societal impacts, etc., and try to introduce framework that will help guide technologies to the right direction. So you will continue to see these two forces competing with each other, and I hope all of us will join the camp where, hey, let's learn how to use the technology, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we are human beings, so society is human. Let's make it's adopted in the right way. And that's why I call myself the advisor for responsible and purposeful adoption of AI.
It's really great. And one thing that we spoke about, Ichun, during our call was, and I don't know if we'll have time to get into this, but just about like really the issues and challenges at that level of like middle management, middle leadership. And I think there is a lot of uncertainty, anxiety, and fear at that level. I mean, you have above and below. And so I think there's a lot of really interesting things that can be explored about how this technology can really impact and bring value to that level of leadership, because exactly
Yes.
like you said, people are dealing with burnout and scarcity at all levels, and if you can find ways to ease that load, improve productivity.
Yes, and that's actually an article that I've been working on, and I've been struggling with, and I've been laboring over it because it's the topic is huge, right? But I've been getting there. But to make just to share a few key concepts I'm trying to articulate in my article. I think the framework of recognizing there are tasks that actually are better be automated, and there are tasks that can be augmented by the power that AI presents to us as an aid. And there's actually a framework of human in the loop at different level, right? Human as aid to for the automation, different levels of a human intervention for different reasons, and how do we go about thinking about that and doing that. So that's another useful framework. And I am totally with you. I think and my article starts from saying it needs to start from the personal level. Leadership needs to accept and embrace, and also share their own personal feeling that the fear and the resistance to change is just human experience. We need to accept that. We need to embrace that. We need to then how do we help employees deal with that fear, right? And that's where the AI literacy and communication about how organizations are thinking about AI and be open about it. And the conversation doesn't have to be the end game, but the sooner you start to talk about it open with that, and also make sure that your AI strategy, your AI adoption is driven by business needs, by a business outcome, and everybody is invested in a business outcome, right? So once you start there, and then work with them to say, hey, we actually can do things differently with the help of AI, and you are actually going to be able to perform at the higher level, and then be compensated accordingly, right? Then you start to get people on board, and then the fear then can become curiosity. How do I actually train my AI models to help me, right? And it can be also replaced by purpose, right? We are going to use AI to produce this much, to actually introduce new products that traditional computing could not support, or grab more market shares now that we are actually able to to actually get things done at a much lower cost, etc., and get people excited about it. And that's what my article will be about. I invite everybody to start thinking along that line as well. Does that help, Jekyll?
Oh, 100%. And that's what I love about these conversations is like it's a mix of like I see us as like practical philosophers. You know, there's still that bit of awe and wonder. And to me, one of the things about this technology that it's enhanced. I've always been a very curious person, but it's enhanced my curiosity. It's enhanced my imagination, creativity, problem solving, and I think that being able to share that in a way that is practical to people's lives and work, but also brings about that sense of like what's possible. That sense of awe and wonder, I think, is important when working with people with this technology. And so we have just a few more minutes before we have to close. And so Yuka, I'm not sure if you are able, but do you want to give any final thoughts or words that we can walk away with? And you're on mute. Well, we can, if Yuka is able to say something, but Ichun, thank you so much. Like this was such a really great conversation. Yuka, back over to you. And I think there might still be some connection issues.
So, my internet is very, 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 very unstable. So I let you close it.
Cool. Yeah. So no, Ichun, thank you so much for coming.
And thank you very much, Ichun. And
yeah.
And
we're glad to have you in Global Chamber.
Thank you all. And it's a journey, and I invite all of you to really join my journey as well. Feel free to reach out.
Yeah, and thank you. And so thank you, of course, to Global Chamber. Thank you all for coming. This was a great chat. It's one of our most lively chats that we've had. So that to me shows that this was a really awesome event. So thank you all. And yeah, just be in touch with Yuka and I. If you want to present 1 month, if you want to come chat with this group, we'd be happy to have you and have a conversation, presentation, anything that can get your work in front of the community. And so thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate you, and we will see you next month. And yeah, I think, is there anything else, Doug, Jim, before we close?
Yeah, none so far. So feel free to join us also for the League of Opportunity after this session. So yeah, see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. That's starting right now. If you'd like to join, jump in. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Yuka. Sorry the internet didn't work out as well as we'd like, but it is what it is. I thought the conversation, Ichun, was really great. Great information. Thank you so much for sharing. And thanks everybody for attending.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Pleasure. Thank you.